Hey, welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio. This is your host, Jim, and we're doing something a little different today. I've only made a couple videos in the past of episodes, and we're going to start doing more of this. You guys have told us you want this, so we're going to start doing more where you actually see the guest on the screen with me when we have guests, and you can watch it on YouTube if you want. I know a lot of you have YouTube accounts, maybe YouTube Red, and you can download the video and check it out in real time, that sort of thing. So going forward, a lot of our episodes, the majority of them, hopefully, will be video episodes. Let us know what you think. Leave us some feedback. So if you're just listening to this right now, that might not make much sense. But if you go to the show notes, you'll see a link. There's actually a video that accompanies this episode. You can watch that video or just keep checking out the audio like you always have, for those of you who enjoy that. But today I've got a guest with us who is from Missouri State University. That's one of the schools we've been talking to about using our content, the proven Amazon course content, to help their students actually establish real businesses as part of their business training. So I thought, hey, that would be a really cool guest. So today I've got Mr. Dana Frederick on the line. We'll bring him on screen here in just a second. He is married to his wife, Teresa, of 15 years. He's got two kids, 9-year-old and a 7-year-old who just had her 7th birthday. Just got her ears pierced, he was telling me. So a boy and a girl. But what a cool dude. I've had a little bit of time to get to know him a little bit today. So we're going to dive in and talk about today, of the entire landscape of business opportunities that are out there for university students or for anybody for that matter. Where should we be paying attention? And Dana's had the chance to kind of think it through from that angle, and they're paying attention to the Amazon opportunities, to e-commerce, specifically using the proven Amazon course concepts and content to do some really special things. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Dana on screen with me now so you can meet him. Hey, Dana, how are you,
Hello.
man?
Great, Jim.
Thanks for being a guest today, buddy. I really appreciate your time, and we've had a great chat so far on some really cool stuff. Let's fill the listeners in and just tell us briefly a little bit about your stuff, and then did I leave anything out of the introduction? And let's dive into what you're up to, man, because I'm excited about this.
No, I appreciate the time, appreciate the opportunity. Like Jim said, I've been teaching since about 2007, focus in management and entrepreneurship here at Missouri State. Been in Springfield, Missouri since 2002. Started my Amazon business back in May of 2014. Since then, have been rocking and rolling. Became a PAC member a while back, but haven't stopped since. And part of my passion of doing this and teaching and how those two come together is I enjoy talking with the students about this. I enjoy not just teaching them the concepts of a business plan in an entrepreneurship class, but actually showing them how to take a physical product and take it to market, especially if they don't know where or how to do that. And the Amazon platform is perfect to do that.
Love it. Well, I'm excited some of the things you were talking about doing with the students, and I want to dive into that direction.
Sure.
Because I think this is a model that's going to take off. One of the things we've learned as we started talking to different universities, yours and a handful of others, is especially the entrepreneur programs, they're struggling to crank out entrepreneurs. There's something missing in the game plan because these kids are going through the entrepreneurship program and then they're coming out and getting jobs, which is
Right.
fine. Good for you. Got a great job. That's awesome. But we're kind of trying to build an entrepreneur here. So as one administrator put it, he told us candidly, the dirty little secret of entrepreneurship programs in the United States is we're not cranking out entrepreneurs. Can you help us? And so these real world steps. So I'd like to hear you talk a little bit about that. What is it that you see specifically in the Amazon opportunity that gives you the greatest chance of turning out students who are capable of starting and launching their own businesses? Put that in perspective for us.
Okay. Well, to kind of give you a little bit of background and everybody else where we're coming from, about 3-4 months ago, after teaching an e-commerce class, I realized that just teaching them the history of Amazon or showing them a few tools to use if they had a website and a company already, it's just not the best way to utilize class. And that's my personal opinion. That's not administration. It's not my boss. It's just me saying, I want to do something different. And I always try and approach class from that standpoint of try something different. And so what we've done is we started looking at how can we be different, be bold. That's kind of our slogan on campus.
Right. I love it.
In our boss, my department head has given us permission to be bold. And so being on the curriculum committee for the entrepreneurship department, or program, I said, hey, let's try something different. I do this. There are tens of thousands, millions of people that do this, but there are also small businesses that have product in small markets that can't grow because they're limited to their 170,000. They're limited to 25,000 people in their market. That's one way we can help them. We can teach our students to be consultants, to go in. You've taught that. You teach that in the PAC course. Why can't we utilize that same information and help our students be successful that way? That way, when they graduate, they're not working for a company. They are their company consulting with another company. Great. But the idea behind this is that we create an entrepreneurship certificate program that any major on campus could take. We see a gap and a need that products, or students have products, they have ideas, but they don't know what to do with it. And so we would like to help bridge that gap and introduce this concept. No guarantees yet. It has to go through all the processes, but personally, I help students do this, and I enjoy doing that. And the whole idea is that we help them start a business. That's the short term. Long term is hopefully we can start a student-run business on campus, that they go through this class, and at the same time, they can be physically doing it in the student-run business that's associated with the university, and maybe even generate some scholarship money.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Create an on-campus internship program that, they can jump in, they can learn the basics, they could do the prepping, the packing, the research, and
everything.
Build a business on campus, and they can take these skills with them then into the marketplace. And I love what you said about turning them into consultants. That just gives you options. It gives you so many options. Instead of having, a resume and you're looking for one specific job, you can go out and help any business that has a product that they're trying to sell more of. You mentioned these businesses with limited markets. You're talking like you'd said 170,000, like a geographic limitation.
Yep.
And they're trying to distribute their product maybe in a city, a small product. And your students will be equipped to say, hey, you know what? Let's get this product in front of a global audience. I know how to do that. I learned how to do that. Right. So these kids have a skill set that can take them in multiple directions then. I love that vision. And honored that you guys are leaning towards the Proven Amazon course content. It's very validating for us to be hearing from universities. We've been doing this for 16, me personally, probably 18 years, the team, 16 plus. And we haven't heard from a whole lot of universities. And now suddenly we're starting to hear from several. And it was very validating that there's this crossover happening, and we have the same goal in mind.
Right.
We want to create entrepreneurs. I think the world needs more entrepreneurs. Yep. And regardless of what your degree or what you're studying, you need to approach it with an entrepreneurial spirit. And I know you've got a vision that goes well beyond even the School of Business. You're talking about including anybody on campus.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We feel that there is a need, and I'm sure most campuses have this need as well. And, not just business majors, but it could be an art major, a scientist, an engineer that has come up with an idea, a product in one of their labs, and they're like, cool, this is awesome. What are we going to do with it? And it sits there, right? It's like we're
word out. Yeah.
How do we sell this Post-it note? What do we do with this adhesive? Yep. And so the whole idea is we would run them through, the 3 courses, yes, and using a lot of the resources from the PAC course. We would give them the basic, here's Amazon, here's how you set up an account, here's how you can, and I stole one of your titles. So, selling products with confidence. And part of the idea is introducing them to private label, how to source, how to talk with the manufacturer, how to also grow their team. You talk about that all the time. And once you hit that point in your business, you need to be focusing on these other things, adding more product ideas, focusing on how to expand in that direction versus just packing and taping boxes, and so, but Personally, I think that the students have to and need to go through the entire process. They need to take boxes. They need to put items in poly bags. They need to understand how to put the label on the product to send in to Amazon. What is a SKU? What is an FSN SKU? What is Amazon's label versus UPC? How do we get those UPCs? How do we create a listing and take photos properly, do the keyword research, all of that?
Yeah. Yeah.
They need to understand.
Agree. It reminds me of, I heard in the Japanese culture, I was reading an article, it's been a while back, but if you go into the hotel and hospitality industry in Japan, you can get a degree, a serious 4-year college degree in hotel management and hospitality, high end, with the goal of, I want to manage and operate a hotel one day. Without exception, it doesn't matter what degree you come in with, you clean toilets the first several months. It's like, we don't care about your big fancy degree, mister. And I love that culturally about the Japanese, that whole concept of, hey, you're not above putting tape on boxes. None of us are, as you're learning the basics of this business. Now, you don't want to be doing it for 3 years.
No.
But that's the reality of shipping physical product is someone's putting tape on a box somewhere. It should be you, at least initially, get to know the process. And then, you want to be growing yourself constantly. It's been years since I put tape on a box. But if this Q4 things blow up and I get a phone call, it's like, get on a plane, bring 3 of your kids. Things just blew up. Like, we're putting tape on boxes. So you've got to be willing to be humble, but always be growing and building systems. And I love,
absolutely.
I want to dig into your business a little bit. It's not massive by any means, but it is very significant. It's something you should be proud of. You've got a very healthy 6-figure Amazon business of your own. You've got a warehouse now. You got some of the students involved in it already. Tell us a little bit about that and that journey.
So I started back in May of 2014, and I can't take credit for stumbling on this myself. I have a buddy named Todd, great friend that moved back to town, started doing research. We actually had a Kmart closing. He came up to town or sent me a message, said, hey, I'm coming into town Saturday. Let's go to Kmart. I'm thinking, it's Kmart. It's closing. It's closing for a reason, right? Because no one goes to Kmart. And so he's like, hey, I'm going to show you what I do. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you do? He's like, I'm going to sell this stuff on Amazon. So I went with him and we bought stuff. He bought stuff. And he's shown me the seller's app. I think we used, not to drop any name, but we used Profit Bandit at the time.
Yeah,
and so he's like, here's my sign in. And so I put it on my phone and I was scanning stuff and he was showing me how to use it. And, I went back. So he came up on Saturday. He bought a bunch of stuff. I went back on Sunday and I spent like $250. And let me tell you, man, I was shaking. I'm like, oh man, I just spent $250. What am I going to do with all this stuff?
Yeah.
Sent it in and then it started to sell, right? Everybody, that's the big thing, right? First thing a lot of people do is they jump up in the morning and they go to their seller app and be like, hey, how many sells? And 1, 2, 3, 4. You're like, wow, maybe this stuff actually does work.
This works.
So that was May. In July, we went on like a 24, 26-hour retail arbitrage road trip. And so we're located in the Midwest. And so we jumped in one of our vehicles and drove. We left probably 6, 7 o'clock at night, and we didn't get back until about that the next day. And we went and we hit some small towns, big towns, and we came across this one Walmart. And we walk in, first thing, like you talked about in one of your recent episodes, you went grocery shopping, but you still hit the clearance aisle.
Sure, why not?
So we looked up, right? Walmart usually has clearance signs. We looked up, we went back, and we started going down one of the aisles. And so we were actually looking through stuff and we saw a customer and she's like, hey, they've got more clearance stuff over there. And we went down this row and we didn't even have to scan. We had, I think by the time we left, we had 3 carts. I mean, it was Legos, it was everything, electronics, little Nintendo handheld game devices, and they had, I don't know, 10 of them left, and they were like $99. And I asked the store manager, he was there, I was like, hey, if we buy them all, you know, can you give me a better price? And he's like, sure, I'll take another $10 off of each.
Well done, man. Yeah, I love that you always ask for a discount and let them name a price. Two brilliant tips built in right there. But I love it.
Absolutely.
Keep
Absolutely.
going.
Well, I mean, fast forward a little bit, a year later, the following fall and a year later, using a similar technique, I'd always, Walmart generally clears out a bulk of their products twice a year now. They always have clearance, but the big bulk is usually twice a year now. It's usually February, first part of February into January, and just right now as they're starting Q4 stuff.
Getting the Christmas stuff in. They
Absolutely.
Need to make space. Yeah, I've been cleaning up.
Absolutely. Great time to go. But
Mm-hmm.
A couple of years ago, they had all the clearance in the lawn and garden section. I mean, toys. And so I asked if I could talk to the manager if they were in. And so he came over. I said, hey, I want to buy a lot of stuff. I said, if I write down the price I'm willing to pay, can we then go from there? He's like, yeah. Tell me the price you're willing to pay and how many you want to buy. And so I got out my piece of paper and I'd write down the item, quick description. I'd be like, okay, you've got them down for $10. I'll take them all if I can get them for $7.50. And I'm already on clearance. And so I ended up having 2 assistant store managers walking around with me, pushing carts, and we were checking out in the back lawn and garden area. I had a great time. They pushed everything out to the vehicle, helped me load it up. And my thought is, $3,000 later at that location, they got rid of some inventory that was going to take up space, and eventually they'd have to pack up and put in a 52-foot container and haul back out next year. And so it was a great trip. And then
beautiful, man.
Next day went to another one.
I love it. Yeah. So, and that, those opportunities are still out there. That's not like the good old days. One of the frustrating parts about this business for me is there's always the people say, that used to work and it doesn't anymore. We're in the infancy. And I love that's one of the comments you made when we were talking before we started recording is you're fully aware that e-commerce is in its infancy. These opportunities, I'm confident 20 years from now, we will still have retail arbitrage opportunities. I was saying that 5 years ago and 10 years ago and 15 years ago when people were saying, the retail arbitrage concepts are fading. No, they're not going anywhere, guys, because 90% of all retail is still done traditionally. Mm-hmm. And big companies like Walmart are shipping way too much inventory to some places and not enough to others. We're the ones who come in and balance it back out and make a profit doing it by getting stuff online. But yeah, the huge opportunities. So I love you started with retail arbitrage, which some people don't want to do, but man, do it. I encourage everyone, do a little bit of it at least to get your feet wet and get a feel for it, and then build a team and have them do it for you. It's a very simple business model.
It's a great learning opportunity, especially at the beginning. You learn the basics. It was probably 2 years ago. I was teaching a business plan class. And my philosophy was, instead of telling the students, this is what you have to write about, I'm like, you pick. And I always start the semester out and introduce who I am. I tell them I'm a Christian. I tell them I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm an entrepreneur. And then they always ask, well, what do you do? And I'm like, so you heard of this small company called Amazon? And they're like, yeah, we buy stuff off of there. And I'm like, well, thank you. We appreciate your support. And so I tell them what we do and tell them the opportunity. And I had one student, Nick won't mind, so I'll drop his name. But Nick came in and stopped me after class and says, tell me a little bit more. And then he'd come to my office after class, and then we'd meet up. We finally got to the point where we could meet up, and I'm like, hey, you got to check out this opportunity. You got to start with retail arbitrage. So we'd go to a Walmart or we'd go to Walgreens down the street, and I'd show him, okay, start here, but there's other things in the store that you could still move from the Springfield market to a bigger market. In that first month, he started, late November, mid-November. And so he was there for about a month before Christmas was over, and he did $10,000 in
Whoa.
sales. And he even came to me and said, if you had told me I was going to do $10,000 in sales, I would have laughed at you. You know,
Right.
but now he does 20 to 30,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he's graduated with the degree in entrepreneurship, but he does 20, 30,000 a month in sales, and he works for himself.
I love it.
And to me, that's a win.
Yeah,
That's a win from a
absolutely.
teacher's perspective. That is a win.
That's a huge victory. I mean, I would love to have had those advantages. I didn't start figuring this stuff out till my mid 30s is when I started thinking this way, Uh, and I look at my 15-year-olds and my 18-year-old, and they can do this stuff in their sleep. I'm like, man, what a incredible opportunity they have ahead of them. They have a 15-year head start.
Absolutely.
And,
I know you referenced Dave Ramsey before, right? But what's he say?
Yeah.
If you can get a 15-year-old to start investing, $50 a month.
Yeah.
But he even says at age 18, from age 18 to 30, invest $50 a month.
You've got a multimillionaire.
They will beat us if we don't start until 30. And to me, that's the same concept, the same premise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I talk this way very openly with, especially with my 18-year-old who's really running full speed into the internet e-commerce world right now. And the thing I'm encouraging him is relationship capital, because just like Dave Ramsey would tell us, hey, putting $10 in the month is a big deal and letting that compound over time and you're going to be a millionaire kind of thing. Same thing's true with relationships.
Mm-hmm.
If you're out there intentionally building great relationships with great people, surrounding yourself with great people, that pays huge dividends for you and for them, mutually beneficial relationships. And that's what I believe. That's why God gave us business, was so we would establish healthy, mutually beneficial relationships.
Absolutely.
It totally makes sense. But even if you don't subscribe to a biblical worldview, it makes a lot of sense that if I have a lot of people who really like me and I'm benefiting them in some way, I'm going to do okay. It's that simple. So you tie the e-commerce concepts in with strong, healthy relationship concepts. That's all being an entrepreneur is. It's being willing to serve and being okay with profiting financially as you do it so you can serve more people later. But yeah, having that perspective as a kid. And I just love that we've got good people in the university system and the education system, which many people would say, oh, it's broke. But there's really good people like you who are in there teaching the right things, the right way, truly trying to set kids up for success. And I think there's a lot that the university can learn from the way we educate, and we have things we can learn as well. So I love this cooperative relationship we're starting to build with universities, because we know the game is changing, man. I know I wouldn't want to own, $30 million worth of brick buildings right now and say, this is where education happens. I'd be a little nervous if that was my business model right now, I mean, to be honest. But the more we're starting to see ourselves inserted into universities and other great entrepreneurial concepts from the e-commerce world, I'm encouraged. I see, there's change. There's already been a lot of change. There's a lot more change coming. As this all settles out. It's going to be harder and harder for universities to justify. I mean, just yesterday, I don't know if you saw this in our Facebook group, but a day or two ago, we had someone post that, they just spent $120,000 on a business education at a major university, a top business university. They didn't say which one. And they said they've received 10 times the value being a part of our community so far. So like, wow, there's your competition, universities. You better be paying attention to this stuff.
Invest $400 in the PAC program versus $120,000, after he went through the university. Part of my vision and the vision that of the curriculum team and the faculty in the entrepreneurship program is we see that. We see the value the students are getting currently and, don't really like it. We want to make a change for the students, and we want to put them in a better position when they graduate. And we see this model as just the start. And again, it's not just for business students that we want to use this for. If all goes as planned and it gets passed through the different steps and processes, we're opening up the door. First step is to anybody that wants to take it, that has an idea or wants to learn, and then go from there. And it could simply be the bridge that we use to bring them over to the entrepreneurship program and give them some more information, to give them a little bit more guidance. We'll see. Sky's the limit. You know, the future looks bright. I'm super excited. I'm sure my students right now get tired of me talking about this because I interject what I do Amazon, what you do Amazon, what we all do in the Amazon world. I interject that in my management class. You know, I was telling you earlier that my boss basically in a meeting said, go big, go bold, try different things. If you fail, do something else. Just keep trying some new, different ways. And so I had my syllabus all done. And I didn't tell you this part, but I had my syllabus all done. We had this meeting, which was actually about 24 hours after I had emailed you initially about getting just talking to you about using the pack in the class. And so I went into class at the very end, got done through the syllabus, all that stuff. And I'm like, hey, I want to try something different this semester. Boss said it was okay.
I'm going to forgiveness, not permission, right? Here we go. Let's go.
Here we go. I said, this is not a graded project because I don't know how to grade it. And to me, if I don't know how to grade it, that means I may be onto something.
Oh, dude.
So
that's tweetable. The new mantra for the educational system: only do things that can't be graded.
But I told them I want them to have have a stake in it. I'm a competitive person. I mean, I love playing golf, and you know, we actually have the co-ed softball game tonight, and my wife plays, and we have friends that play, friends of our kids at school, you know, their parents, and so I walk into class and I bring a couple products that I don't have listed yet. I have them at the warehouse, and I walk in, I said, okay, you got a couple choices. You're going to have a couple teams of 2 to 3. And here they are. I want you to figure out how to create that shareable moment. You know, kind of taking some PAF, proven Amazon formula tools. And it's like, these aren't my products. I don't have them listed.
Dig it. But create a shareable story, a shareable message, or a shareable concept about this product.
Yep.
And that's beautiful. Oh my gosh. If Brett was here right now, he'd be like doing backflips. I love it. So shareable. You're taking shareable concepts into the classroom, dude.
And we're gonna play them. We're gonna share them in class. I told him I'd bring pizza in because, you know, I got to get them to do it somehow, and I didn't want to necessarily punish them for something I didn't know how to quite grade yet. and I don't know if I ever want to grade it, but so we're gonna watch the videos in class. We're gonna enjoy some pizza, and the class though is still gonna choose the best video. And
gotcha.
And then I told him I'll work out some deal with him that we use that video and actually go launch it on Facebook, you know, with the product behind it. And the team that does the best, I told him I'd give them a prize, you know, gift card to, we just opened up a new coffee shop and bagel shop in our building downstairs and said, hey, I'll get you a gift card for each person on the team because you have to have some incentive. And so,
dude, you're that cool professor I wish I had, man.
Well, it depends. You know, it's not test day yet.
Yeah, right. But no, that's so awesome. You know, one thing that I would be curious to see, just kind of listening through your model there is, you know, our instincts as far as picking which one's going to hit it big are even Brett and I to this day, like,
sure,
show us 10 videos. You think we developed these skills to like, oh, that's the winner. No.
And it fails.
The court of public opinion is all that matters. You get it out there on Facebook, you throw $20, $30 at the ad.
Absolutely.
At the video, then you know. But guessing? Yeah. But no, I love that that's, you know, how you're going to kind of, but I'd be interested to see what the class thinks versus what actually happens.
No, I'm going to take some good notes just to see that exactly. I mean, you're right. My opinion means nothing. Yeah. You know, it's everybody else's. And so my students are like, well, what's going to happen? I said, well, if this takes off and we get a couple of those videos to hit, that to me is the seed for that student business concept we were talking about earlier, that the profits, the proceeds, they don't go to me. That's not what this is about. The profits and proceeds, they go to scholarship.
I love
it. That's
it.
part of why I want to create the student-run business that we talked about earlier off camera. And part of that is to lower that cost of higher education, you know, because I want students to be able to do these things, but at the same time, if they're taking time to make this video, they're taking time to, because they asked, they're like, hey, can we get actors? Can we go get other people involved? I'm like, you have the product, and that is my limitation. And it has to be a video that your grandmother can watch. You could play in church, or you'd show your kids. That's my parameter. So
I love it. Good
uh,
job. Good call, man.
But we'll see. We'll see at the end of the semester. I'll have them all. We'll play them all, and
How
who
fun
knows?
is that? I'd love to hear how that experiment goes.
I'll
That's
keep
beautiful.
informed.
For the benefit of the listener who may not know what the PATH or the proven audience formula is, there's a book on Amazon.com that you can go grab it's titled Proven Audience Formula. It's a very inexpensive book, but it gives several examples of what we just talked about. Or there's a course at provenaudienceformula.com if you want to dive a little deeper. But that's part of the content that we're training in our community right now. It's basically, you've heard us talk about using Facebook creatively to generate a lot of traffic and then do what you want with that traffic based on shareable stories. And, my suspicion is it's going to be the kid who turns on his iPhone and has his roommate act stupid for 30 seconds with the product. That's the winning video. It's not the high quality audio or video or actors from the School of Acting at the university. It's going to be that kid who has a goofy roommate and just turns him loose for 30 seconds.
Yep.
That's what works on Facebook. So it's not a matter of the high end production skills and those sort of things. Because if it looks and feels like a commercial, that's what we've learned. People turn it off.
Absolutely.
Unless it's just amazing. And you'll see some examples where people just go like $5 million deep into making it amazing, entertaining. But we're not going that way. We're turning our video camera on, or cell phone camera on for 30 seconds, a minute or two, tops, and creating stuff that gets seen by tens of millions of people for a few $100s of ad spend. I mean, that's the magic. So yeah, thanks for bringing that. I didn't expect that to even enter the conversation today, but man, this is brilliant stuff. I think this is the kind of interview where people are going to want to hear an update, like a year from now, or, whatever point we've got some updates. We're definitely going to have you back, man.
Not a problem. Love to.
I love that, you're in the traditional education system, but you've built your own Amazon business. It's going well. You started with retail arbitrage. You're including students in the business. You're bringing proven Amazon course concepts into the classroom, proving them out even further. And we're giving kids options, as they hit the job market. It's not just their resume and their degree. It's, while I'm looking for a job, I could be making money, $10,000 a month selling on Amazon. Maybe that becomes their career. They become a consultant. But we're giving kids options. So kudos to you, man, just for being in the role you're in and being that cool professor I wish I'd had. I've only got one prof that I walked away from the university experience going, man, I can keep in touch with that dude and learn a lot. All the rest of them, I was just like, couldn't wait to get out of there, to be honest with you. I mean, there were some nice people, but as far as taking life skills that really served me well. So you're that guy, man, for a lot of kids. I bet you are that guy. So kudos to you, man. But anything you want to leave the listener with, any final thoughts or encouragements as we start to land this plane?
It's when I first started this process, and I know most of your listeners, I mean, you have a whole spectrum from very beginning to multi-million dollars. I'm in the middle, towards lower end. I started this business, to be honest, because I enjoy what I do. I don't see people like, well, when are you going to quit? I'm like, I'm not going to quit. If anybody quits, my wife quits. Her job's way more stressful than mine.
Right.
I teach class Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm generally in my warehouse doing another thing I love. Mm-hmm. It's not work. My students come down if they want to come down and enjoy the process. But, if this is something you want to do, awesome. Like I said, I started it because I wanted to take my kids on a vacation every year. I wanted to go somewhere, and we've gone to Disney, I don't know, every year for the last 5 or 6 years.
We're a Disney family too, man.
I
think everybody from the Midwest heads south when we go on vacation. Yeah. I love it.
Yep. We surprised them, and we're going to go in February. And that's part of why I do this. I mean, I don't pay myself other than I take enough out to go on a little vacation. But this is an opportunity for, our current members' kids growing up. We can change the course. You're changing the course for them. I'm talking with a private school. It's a homeschool co-op right now about getting their students to come over, their junior seniors to come over to the warehouse and to learn about this concept of Amazon. I mean, imagine that, a small business, that Amazon is. What's Bezos, the richest guy in the world now?
Yeah.
But it's, the opportunity is endless, and we know we need to make some changes. We know that the environment outside the university is also changing, and there is way more opportunity for our kids. And so hopefully this is one opportunity we can put in front of them to prepare them when they graduate. Like you said earlier, they don't have to go work for another company. And if they do, maybe it is just consulting. They've got their Amazon business. I've got a student in one of my classes right now. Every day I ask him, because he sells usually textbooks, and I ask him every day, I said, what did you list today? Or I'll call up a former student, and the first question I usually ask him is, what have you done for your business today?
I love it.
And so just keep pushing. Don't stop. There's a ton of opportunity. Retail arbitrage is not dead. Is it as easy as it used to be? No, but it's not dead. There's still great opportunity. But just be creative with it. Go to some of the trade shows, go to ASD. I can't wait to create a short-term study away, domestic study away, and take students there. That's my next plan. Or we're going to do this, and then I'm going to call you, Jim, and say, hey, I'm bringing students, and they have a budget, and they have to find product, and they have to do their research and presentation while we're there, and we're going to buy and sell the product so we can create some scholarship revenue for them.
I love it. We're having a lot of success talking about ASD. Our coaching director, Nathan, loves it. Mm-hmm. Not for the reason of going and finding and buying inventory, but for finding partners. True. Because a lot of these companies have been approached about Amazon before, and they don't like Amazon. They'd rather not be on Amazon because they'd gotten burned, didn't know what they were doing, had a bad seller, price got driven below their, the line where they'd like to see it. But you come to them and say, hey, I could be your one guy, and all I need is a commission, and I will honor your pricing. I know how to market on Amazon. They love that pitch. And there's thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of companies and brands out there that are dying for someone to come along and make that offer to them, because they don't understand this, what they think is a very confusing landscape, but they know it's coming. So that's the angle we're taking, very successfully. Awesome. Approaching manufacturers and wholesalers to say, hey, let me be your Amazon guy and partner with you.
Be the expert.
Yeah. Let me be the expert. Offload that on me, and I'll navigate that whole arena for you. Yeah. So huge opportunity. That's something that's built in. Again, the Proven Amazon course we talked about. That's the PP module. You've seen it, the Proven Performance Products, or Proven Product Partnering. I'm sorry, Proven Product Partnering. It's a module in the course. So let's do it, man. We have people at ASD every year, and that's just one of many big shows. And you're not afraid to go to China. I mean, there's some the opportunities out of China, and we're getting excited about Guatemala right now, and so many different places where you can source great product that's not on Amazon yet.
Absolutely.
Potential. So, man, I love the partnership. I love the budding relationship that we're building with universities, and you're the liaison right now between the two, and you're doing a masterful job, man. Excited to see where this goes.
We are too, and all goes well. It's a process, but we hope to have these courses up and running, the certificate up and running. Our goal is the latest of next fall, because that's just how the process works.
It takes a little time.
It does, but based on our partnership that we grow and develop, and hey, this could be a new platform for other universities just to mimic and copy. Who knows?
Absolutely.
Because
you're creating it's like a 9 credit hour kind of series of classes is what we're building, right? Based on the Proven Amazon course. And here's how you go apply it in a university setting so you can get accredited. You can get credit for, who knows, we may have a minor in Amazon selling at some point as an offering at a university. It'd be cool to have Missouri State be the first to come out. But yeah, we're all about that, because our heart is education. Your heart is education. Hey, let's work together and equip these kids to succeed. So, well, Dana, you've been a phenomenal guest today.
I
Appreciate it.
appreciate your time.
I'm gonna address the listeners now for just a minute and thank them for hanging out with us and thank them for being a part of the Silent Sales Machine Radio. Because without you listening, we're just a couple dudes chatting. But hey, tell your friends, tell people that you think could need this. Maybe you've got a kid who's considering going off to college and they don't know what they want to study. You have them listen to this. Have them consider this as part of their perspective and making that decision of, what do they expect out of a university experience and how, what role does being an entrepreneur maybe play in what they should be taking away from their educational experience? Because we hope to encourage kids. And, like you've heard me say before, I think everybody's an entrepreneur, whether you've got one customer and that's the business owner that you work for writing you a check, or you got a bunch of customers. I say, hey, why not do both? Why not have a part-time income building an e-commerce business? And that's what we love to help people do. But thanks for being here today, Dana. You did a great job. We'll have you back again. Listener, we're in your corner. God bless you. You're a fellow business building warrior, so we're in your corner. We're here for you to support you. And as I'm recording this, we're about to pass 50,000 members in our Facebook group if we haven't already, which is really cool. So if you're not in our free Facebook group, check the show notes at silentjim.com. We'll give you links to everything we talked about today, as well as a link to our Facebook group. So you can jump in there for free, hang out with a bunch of other cool people who use the internet creatively. But hey, we'll do this again real soon. Let us know what you thought about this video content. If you just listen to the audio, hey, go check out a little bit of the video on YouTube and give us some feedback. Let us know. Leave us a comment, a thumbs up, subscribe so you get notifications when we do these in the future. All right, I'm going to sign off here. God bless you guys. Talk to you again real soon.